Yeah, hello. Hello. In this video, I want to show you how Cantara works and how you can use it in your workflow. Cantara is a song presentation software written for the purposes of churches and Christian groups which want to organize worship together. And when you do worship, you normally need a song presentation. You want to somehow show the song lyrics. One way to do this is, of course, the old way with songbooks, the classic way with songbooks, but more and more churches tend to also provide the song lyrics via a beamer or some other presentation mode. And Cantara is designed for this. It's an open source software developed by myself for now about 9 till 10 years, and it is used in a lot of churches and Christian groups around the world. In this video, I want to quickly show you how you can download and install Cantara, how it is designed to work, and how you can use it to simplify your workflow for preparing church services or other Christian events. So, we are now on the web page of Cantara, where you can find information and also a documentation in English language. And if you would like to download Cantara, you can go to the Quick Start section and then go to the download and installation hints. Here you find an explanation how you can install Cantara on Windows and Linux. Cantara itself is extremely lightweight, so after the installation, only about 10 megabytes of disk space are used. For Windows, the installation is very easy. There is an exe file with an installer, which you can simply download and run, or the recommended method would be to use Winget, the Windows Package Manager, which you could also run, and then it will install Cantara and also update it if you run the winget update command regularly. It's all described on the webpage. Linux has packages or package build files in the Arch user repository for Arch Linux and Manjaro distros. It has a snap package and also Flatpak, which would cover most of the distributions and most of the common ways how you could get it on Linux. So after you have installed Cantara, it will show up in your start menu. For example, here Cantara is there. You could just simply click it and run it, but I will do an exception now because we're here on a German user interface. But I would like to run Cantara in English language, so we need to change the language, because normally Cantara opens in the language of your local system if available. And for this tutorial, I would like to show you the English version. So I run Cantara from the command line, but you normally don't need to do this, as I told you. And I run Cantara -lang en. By the way, if you would like to know how many languages Cantara has, it has been translated to Chinese, Dutch, Spanish, Italian, and German so far, and other languages are going to follow. So now I press EN for English, and because I start Cantara for the first time in this configuration, I get greeted by the welcome assistant. And this welcome assistant is actually telling me what I need to do, but I would like to give you some context here. For Cantara, it is important to have a song repository. This is a folder on your local system where all your songs, which you later use and contain the song lyrics, are used for making the presentation. So I need to select a folder on the local file system, which will be managed by Cantara for all my songs, okay, and which I can use later. If you start Cantara for the first time and you haven't used the software before, and also in your church no one is using the software, the best approach would be to just create a new folder. I do this here in my documents directory, and I just say songs, okay. let's call it like this. It's completely empty, as you see, there's nothing inside, and it's fine. I just select this for the first. Of course, you can also change it in the settings later. After I've chosen it, the assistant is going forward and tells me that there are no songs in this folder yet, and I will later also explain what it means and how you can add songs. Would you like to add the Amazing Grace from John Newton as an example? It's a public domain song, so you can just add it if you like, and we do this so that we have at least one song there. Now it has been added. Okay, we can continue, and Cantara is actually now ready to use. That's it. Okay, so I have what we have done now is we have run Cantara for the first time, and we have selected a folder for our song repository, and now Cantara is ready already. This, what we see now, this window here, is the window which we would use most of the time. It's called the song selection window. And in this window, we choose the songs which we would like to have been shown during the presentation. On the left side, you see the songs available. On the right side, you see the chosen songs. Okay, and now because we just have created Amazing Grace in the Welcome Assistant, we only have this song available yet. And if I would like to choose this one, I just double click on here, or I select it and press the plus button. Both is possible. And now the song is here on the right side, which means it will be included in the presentation. Of course, I can also select the same song twice or 3 times if I like to. If I later decide that I don't want to have it in the presentation, I just press the remove button, and I'm also done with that. Okay, that's very simple, but works quite well. I can now press presentation, and we'll have another window. It's the presentation window, where I see the presentation and the lyrics of Cantara, of Amazing Grace in Cantara. One thing which is special about Cantara is the spoiler feature. So by default, Cantara shows the lyrics of the next slide a little bit smaller below. And if there are no lyrics left because the song has reached its end, then this will not be shown. So the audience and also the people who, maybe the musicians who see this, they know that now the last slide has been shown and there's nothing to follow. In practical use, the spoiler feature has been quite useful because, first of all, sometimes it happens that people who are responsible for the presentation, they forget a little bit to go further, and maybe if they're a few seconds late or something like this, the audience can still continue to sing. And the other thing is, you know when the song is ending. That's very useful for the musicians especially. But of course, you can also disable this feature in the settings. That's no problem. And now I have the presentation window. And if I would like to toggle full screen, I press F11 or F5. And now, as you can see, I am in full screen mode. And I can use the arrow keys to navigate. Right arrow for going forward, left arrow for moving back. I could also use remote control, which you might know from other presentations. It would also work, or you can of course also use enter or the space, or if you're a Linux user, KDE Connect remote control with your Android smartphone also works. Now I press the arrow keys and I can navigate. Just imagine the audience is singing now the song Amazing Grace, and as you can see here, after the last stanza, there's no spoiler slide, no spoiler, because there's nothing to follow. So people know intentionally, okay, the song is ending now, and there's one last empty slide at the end. Okay, so that's basically everything you need to know. And you could use this program now already for your presentations. But now the question is, where can I get the songs from? Okay, we have just Amazing Grace here, and maybe we would like to add some songs. Let's imagine you have a home Bible study group and you would like to sing some songs. and people come up and say, I would like to sing the song What a Friend We Have in Jesus. Yeah, I would like to sing that song. So what we do now, and that is what the Cantara is designed for, is a very simple and easy workflow. The first thing which you have to know is that the files, and we will take a look there so that you can understand that, the files in the song repository are actually simple text files. And we can take a look in the structure just for your understanding. These are files which can but don't have to consist of a header with some metadata. We will cover this later. And then we have the lyrics in their order as they are sung. And between several song parts, which could be in several stanzas, or for example a refrain, or bridge, or chorus, whatever songs have, there is one blank line. Okay, that's the easy structure. So you can just copy and paste the lyrics from the internet into such a file and you're done. This meta information is not needed. If there is no title meta information inside the file, the title will be gained from the file name. Okay, in this case Amazing Grace, it's the same here. So yeah, but if the title here is different from the file name, Cantara would use this as the song name. That's just for your explanation. And how the text works, as I said, we will cover later. In addition, just to remember, Cantara also supports the format from CCLI Song Select and can convert it into this format if you would like to do this. I will come to this later as well. So we have now the understanding on how these files work. And now let's say we would like to add What a Friend We Have in Jesus. Okay, also public domain song, so we can just also use it in this tutorial. And yeah, okay, it's German, but you can see I just entered it here. And yep, what I need to look, sorry, not chords, I need to look for the lyrics, right? We want to have the lyrics. And I go to the page like this one looks good. I have the lyrics here, and this song structure is also very simple, just as Amazing Grace. There's no bridge, there's not even a refrain, it is just 3 stanzas. Later I will also talk about more complex structures, so don't worry about that, we will cover this as well. Okay, we are done. Another question is, how can I add the songs? Okay, I've copied this into my clipboard. Okay, I do it again just to show it. I've copied it now. Another question is, how can I paste it here or add it here? One thing would be to create a text file here with the editor of your choice and just insert the lyrics here. That is for sure doable, and there's also nothing against this, but Cantara comes with its own lyrics editor or song editor, call it as you like to. You press the edit menu, open the edit menu and press song lyrics. Now you have the files here which are in our song repository, and we can now create a new song while pressing file new. And we call it like we want to call the song name, in this case What a Friend We Have in Jesus. Okay, I press OK, and here I come with an editor where I can now just paste the lyrics. Okay, this is a good example, things we have to correct a little bit. Yeah, what we should correct is that we don't leave a blank line at the beginning if we have no meta information, and we won't do meta information now for the beginning. We just remove this empty spaces. These are empty spaces. Cantara tells you this with these points. So you know that here are some blank spaces which we don't need for the presentation. And we also remove this too. We don't want any information about the parts like the stanza number or anything else. We just copy and paste the lyrics as they are. Okay, the lyrics as they are. So I just remove this here, and I can also remove the last line, it's not needed, and I'm done. That's all you need to do. What you have to remember is that you insert the lyrics of a song in exactly the order which you would like to use for singing. Okay, this is important. Insert the order of the song, the lyrics of the song in exactly the same order as you like to sing it. In this case, it's easy. The song has just 3 stanzas, which we sing one after another. So just add it like this. And between the parts, in this case between the stanzas, I leave an empty space. So that Cantara knows that here we have to do a slight break. Okay? And now I press Control S for save, or I go to File Save. And it appears green here, which means that this has been saved. We can close now the editor. And we see that here now a second song has been added. And yeah, we can just add this song to our presentation. And let's say for this next church service, we would like to sing What a Friend We Have in Jesus and Amazing Grace. So add them both, press presentation, and I'm done. And as you see here, Cantara automatically divides the stanza into 2 parts in this case, because default is that you don't want to have more than 4 lines per slide, which is a good setting, I think. And you can beautifully go through the slides. And then there's an empty slide. You can also change this in the settings before the next song starts. And you're done. Okay? You have now 2 songs and a slide presentation. Now imagine that you prepare the slides and the songs for someone who is using his laptop for the church service or for the home group or for anything else. So you prepare it, but someone else will present it. In this case, there are several options which churches or also Christian groups use. The first option is that you synchronize inside your church, you synchronize the song directory between all the people who are involved. You could use, for example, Git and another version control tool, because these are all text files. This is a very helpful way. You could also use a cloud storage. Everything is possible. But you don't need to do this. It is also possible that everybody keeps its own, because Cantara has its own technique. And in order to show this, we will just try it out now. Let's say I want to use these 2 songs during the next church service. Then I add them here and I say Save Song Selection. And now we can just say, for example, songs for next service. And yeah, the file is a Songtext file, so it will be automatically discovered or automatically saved in this format. But yeah, you should actually end an ending. It's not good like now. I didn't do any ending here, but it's okay for us now. Let's just do it again to make it better. It's better to have an ending like .songtext, that also the system knows what it is for a file. And now we can share this file with any other person which has Cantara, and the person can load it and run the presentation. No matter the person has the songs already in their repository or not. If the person does not have the songs in his repository yet, it will be added to their repository. So then they can use the songs later by themselves. But they don't need to have the songs in the repository before they open the songtext file. Okay, so you can share songtexts for preparing church services, and the people don't need to have the songs, but they will get the songs. So afterwards they can reuse them. And I will show this now in another way. So with this button I deleted my selection. I also closed the file. Now let me load a song selection which someone else gave me. Okay, this file I have already on my computer, and this song contains 3 songs which I didn't have in my repo before. Brightly Beams Our Father's Mercy, Blessed Assurance, and Because He Lives. And as you have seen, I have opened this. The songs have been loaded to my song selection here, so that I can just run the presentation. And they have been also added to my repository. Okay, and if I look here now into my folder, this is my file manager, I can see that the files are already here. So it means now I can immediately run the presentation, and yep, as you can see, everything works out. I have the songs here and everything works fine, right? I can go through the presentation, everything is there. So that is one way to let other people run the presentation. Okay, now I show you two other methods where Cantara is also able to do if the person who uses his computer does not have Cantara installed on his computer. The first option would be the export of a PowerPoint presentation. Yes, Cantara can export presentations to PowerPoint. Okay, PPTX format. But Cantara is using a JavaScript library for this, so it's used your local web browser as a rendering engine. That's a little bit complicated. Here this message contains more information, so don't worry. After you press OK, your web browser will open. It will load a local file. And what we see here now is that a file has been downloaded, or depending on which setting you have, the web browser will ask you for a location. Here it's now called presentation1.pptx because I have already done this before. And now I can open this presentation with a presenter. Here on Linux I use SoftMaker presentations, but you could also use PowerPoint, of course. It works completely fine in PowerPoint. I've tested this several times. That's no problem. So let's just wait till the Office processor has been opened, and you will see that the presentation has been exported, and it looks very similar to what you have known from Cantara. Okay, I'll run it for the first time. Okay. So I need to, I have it here now. You see here, the presentation is there. And this presentation can be used for the church service. So the person who actually shows the presentation does not even need to use Cantara himself. Okay, you can just export it and then use it along. So that's another option. And later we will cover the design settings. You can of course change the design. Yeah, this is the standard design, but you can change it as you like to, and it will be also exported here as good as possible. Yeah, so it looks very similar to what you have been known from Cantara, and that is also an option. Okay, and now I show you the third option. It would be to export the presentation as an image, or as images, better to say. So you just run this window, and you can select the resolution, and then you choose a folder where you would like to export the images. You need to wait for a short time. Yeah, it's done now. And I can say here, let's say in the downloads slides, I create a new folder. I select that one, and now I can say export. I could also change the resolution. Okay, so we can make it a little bit smaller. I think it's not needed to have the big so let's say we just use 800 and 600 to make it a little bit smaller. Now I export it, and as you can see here, it takes a little bit time, but once it is done, we have the images inside our download folder where we wanted to have them. I could also export a single picture, or if I would like, I could remove some. For example, if I don't want to have this empty thing here, I could also remove it. Okay, so I have them here now, and now what I could do is I could use any image viewer which is able, for example this one, and I could just like slide here and I have all the images in the right order. Yeah, I don't know whether this one knows full screen. It doesn't look like this, but it knows here dia show. Yeah, so here I have that, and it's like the it's like Cantara, but just the images. Okay, so you could also share it on phones or whatever you like. So that's also an option. Okay, but now let's change the design. Okay, the design is just with a black background. Maybe we would like to add some background image, or you would like to change the font. Everything is possible in this way. So we just say, go to the settings, which we haven't opened before. And that's another point. Cantara is actually well configured. So for the main purposes, you don't need the settings, most likely. But of course, if you like to change the view, you can go here and find it. Here we have our song repo path, what I explained before. You can change the repository path, of course, every time. And these two options are options which I recommend to not deactivate, but to leave them. But you could also deactivate them. First one is the empty slides between songs, and the second one is that the next slides are spoiled, this little spoiling section here. You could also, for example, deactivate this, and you see in the preview section, this is already updated. We make the preview a little bit bigger, so we see it here. Okay, this is with Amazing Grace, but just to have a feeling how the design is. Okay, let's change, for example, we want to add a background image. So we go here, the background image section, and Cantara comes with two example backgrounds, which are quite beautiful, and you can also use them into your presentations. The first one looks like this. It's a cross. And the second one, let's also show that one. Yeah, I need to reload it. Yep, looks like this. Okay, it's like a cornfield. But let's say we want to stick with the first one. So I need to reload it. Okay, now I'm done. And here you have the background picture now. But as you see, the brightness does not fit so well to the font. Okay, brightness does not fit so well to the font. That's a problem because the text is not quite well readable. And to improve this, we can add some transparency. And now the important point, what you need to understand is that the transparency is towards the background color. So our background color was black before, right? We had black as a background color before. If you go here, you will see it's black, and this stays black. So that means if we add some transparency, our picture in our case gets darker, more towards black. 100% transparency would mean it is black. On Linux, there's unfortunately sometimes a bug, which I hope will be solved soon, that this picture does not get updated. You saw this when I opened the other background. It's not always updated, this preview picture. In this case, you can just try to add some little things. Then you have an update here. Yeah, it should be improved in one of the next versions. And if you click here, the Amazing Grace goes forward. So you can also try that out. Okay. Yeah, that's it. And now you can see you can make it darker. Or let's say we want to change the background color and we make it, for example, red. And now you see that our picture gets a red flare, okay, a red touch. Or of course, you could also make it brighter. Then you would choose white as background color. And for example, make it like this. Okay, we make it brighter. But then of course you should change the text color. And you should make the text color dark. That is also possible. It depends on your personal flavor. In my opinion, it has been the best option to make the text color white, the background color black, and then adjust the transparency of the background picture accordingly. Okay, but that's just my opinion. Of course, there are different style options. You can also change the font settings, okay, like the font size, the font, you can also like the effects, some effects, anything you like to. You can change the text color if you like to, and yep, and some other goodies. Okay. Here you can also change after how many lines there will be a wrap. That means a new slide coming. As I said, the default value is 4. I recommend it to leave it like this, but if you want to change it, that's also fine. If you set this value to 0, then there will be no automatic wrapping, which means that every part of a song will be shown completely. But that could bring you out of space. So you need to take a little bit care that your song lyrics don't get out of space. Yeah. Okay. But now there are other things which you could do. And one thing I forgot. You can change the alignment. Yeah. I could also say I would like to have the text in the left thing, and I would like to have it on the bottom. And then I could also change the padding, so which means the border. Yeah. For example, if I want to have it left, then maybe I just add some border to the left. Maybe I also don't want the spoiler, so we have it like this. Okay. As I said, everything is possible. You can make it like you want. Yeah. But let's say now, just for our trying, we keep it like this. As I said, let's add a little bit more. 50 maybe is better. So we have now the lyrics like this. Okay, and now let's say we would like to have a special title slide. That is also possible. Then you see after, in the beginning of a song, you have a title slide. And now comes the important part, because some songs require you by law to show metadata. For example, the author's name, or if you use CCLI, you are supposed to show the CCLI song number and license number. And you can configure it here, and this is the default configuration, which is actually already sufficient for most cases, but of course you can change it. And I just want to briefly explain the syntax to you. You find a detailed explanation in the documentation of my website. Author, this means that if this value is set, this line is shown. Okay. The brackets with a % sign means if the value author is set, this line is shown. And this means the content of the actual author tag. So that means like if I have set the tag author in my song file, then an author will be shown. If not, this line is completely disappeared. Same here, Bible reference. If there is a Bible reference, I just called it Bible, this value has been shown. Same with songs number and license number. Yeah, I just left it away here. Okay, so it means if this is available, then show this line. That means also that the tags are not predefined. You can use any tags you like, okay? You can implement new tags, you can leave them away. There is no predefined list with exception title. Title is also coming from the song name. If no title tag is set, then the song name will be the title. But everything else is completely free of this definition. And it's not case sensitive, so you can also use case writing like however you like. Now it means if the song contains these things, they are shown. Okay, if not, then they are not shown. And as I said, especially if you're using CCLI song select, that is important. You need to show metadata. It's required for copyright reasons, and then you can do it here. You can show them on the title slide, which is quite nice. So if the musicians are playing like a pre-play, you can show the title slide. The audience knows already which song is following, and then when they start, the lyrics start. You could also, for example, implement a new tag here, for example, the songbook number, where you add a number to a songbook so that people could also open the songbooks if they like to see the score. So everything is thinkable here. As I said, the tags are not predefined. Okay, so you can just you just need to use them in your song files. I come to this later. Also, an option is to show the metadata in addition at the first slide of the song. Then you see here that they are shown here. In this case, Amazing Grace just has the title tag, so they're shown here, or at the last slide. So you can show it also 3 times, which is also not bad, because you have to imagine that between the first slide and the last slide are normally quite a few minutes, so you can show them again. It's not annoying. Normally it's totally fine. Okay, And now we are ready with our settings. We have given us a new nice background. We have changed the appearance a little bit. So yeah, let's close it and start the presentation again. Okay, so I do it, and now we see here our appearance has changed a little bit. I have them here, okay, but all these songs, they don't have any meta information, so we just see the title, and yeah, that's not so good. So let's change it. So first of all, I close the songtext file, but I leave that here, and I would like to add some meta information. What I could do now is that, for example, I just make a right click here and say open an editor. Then the editor shows up and shows me the song with its lyrics. Okay, and we had this already. Let's go back to the settings to see this. We had this we had the tag author, we had the tag Bible, and we had the tag Cecil I song number. Let's say we want to add now an author reference and a Bible reference. Okay, so what we do now is at the beginning of this file we add hashtag or hash for the tag, indicating that there follows a tag. And now I add the tag name, for example, Bible. Okay, I need a Bible reference now, so I say we have it here open. Maybe there's one here on this web page. I can't see it at the moment. Okay, then we just say okay, but we have author here. That's good. So I take this one now for the lyrics. Maybe we should also add both, but just to make it easier now, I just add this. So we add author here, double point, okay, double point, empty space, content, and Bible. Now I say Jesus Friends Bible. Okay, we quickly find John 15:15. Good. So then we just say John 15:15. And as I said, the tags which you use are completely fine for your own definition. If this error comes, fortunately, because sometimes there's still some bugs in Cantara, just press OK. You're fine. There should be no problem. This is a testing system, so there's sometimes some problem, but it should work out. Okay, let's just check whether this has been added here. This is unfortunately due to this testing environment, because this is not my normal user. Yeah, it has been saved. Okay, normally if you run Cantara in your own system, there should be nothing wrong with this. Okay, works. And now we can use it again. So we add the song What a Friend We Have in Jesus. Remove this one because you just want to have this one here at this point. And as you see now, an author will be shown and a Bible reference will be shown, and it will be also shown here in some small caps, and it will be also shown on the last slide in some small caps. And now to move a step along, if I would like to export this as a PowerPoint presentation, I do the same as before, just to show you that this works. So okay, it's already here. You see it's presentation2.pbtx. I open it. Let me use the same program. As I said, this is not my normal account, so all the programs are run for the first time. Yeah, we need to wait till it's loaded, and then you will see that it's also usable in PowerPoint, for example, or any other program. Okay. Yep, you see here. Yeah, it looks quite similar, and if you run the presentation here, you have this quite the same. Yeah, of course it cannot look 100% the same, because the technique how programs like PowerPoint work is different than how Cantara works, but it looks quite similar. And you could also include this, like if you have the sermon here, you could also add slides for the sermon. So you could make one big slide technically for the whole church service, which is also a workflow which a lot of people might use. Yep, that's it. So this is how most of the people use Cantara, but there are some additional goodies, some additional features which also designed especially for groups which want to share song lyrics but don't have a beamer or any presentation method for slides at hand. And in this case, there's the third export option, the markup text option. What does that mean? Cantara has its own markup exporting language, which you can use to export the songs and its tags. So the tags can be also used here in a markup language. It's also documented on the homepage. What you should know is that there are some templates, for example, title only, which shows you only the titles of the songs which you have chosen. You could also use Markdown, which shows you the songs and its lyrics in the Markdown syntax. You could use HTML to get a web page with the songs and its content. Telegram, if you want, for example, share the lyrics in a Telegram group. Here you have a syntax where the headings are boldly formatted, and then there comes the lyrics. WhatsApp, it's the same, just that the bold configuration is different, and you can define your own, of course. Yeah, if you enter the points here. And that is very important to know, that you can also, instead of making presentation slides, export it in a markup format. You could also add, for example, LaTeX here if you want to print it out, or anything you like, and then distribute it so that people can read it on their own document. And then with all of these export things, you could copy it to clipboard or save to file. Okay, yeah. And here is how the syntax works. I just cover some of it. There's a header section, which will be shown as the head. There's a body. There's a loop section. Let's look here. Header is song loop section. Sorry, where you define what should be shown for every song. Okay, and you see here I show the title tag, for example. We could also add the author text tag, for example. If I would like to add the author, then I just say Amazing Grace, new line. Then I say author. Yep. Author. Now I would like to have the author, so I just say author, this and the author, and you see here then it shows author John Newton, and then it starts with the content. Okay, and if I would like to have a line ending here, maybe I should make a BR for a line break in HTML. And if you want to have a nicer format, I also say new line. So yeah, I have a new line here. You see, Cantara will generate this out of that. So you can create websites with the song lyrics. For example, if you make a church service and you want the church audience to read the lyrics on their phone, you could use this method, design it according to your needs, save it in a file, then load it here, and Cantara will compile it to the result, which you see there. So that's also an option which you could use. Okay, so these are basically the things where you can use Cantara for. It is not designed to be very complicated, and it is not designed to handle all the things for your church service. It is only designed for the songs. And for other things like the sermon content or announcements, you should use other programs like PowerPoint, which are actually designed for this case. But you can connect Cantara with PowerPoint, as I showed you, if you export the slides, for example. Or you could also use a setup like OBS, where you change the different outputs or input channels. That's all possible. Okay, so in this way you can use Cantara like you want and for your own needs. Now I would like to show you one last feature. That's the multi-language feature, but this is still under construction, so don't expect too much happening. I can create a new file. We do it in a different way. What I can do is I can add a second. I have it here already. Or let's do it like this. What a Friend We Have in Jesus has also a German version. So let's say we want to sing What a Friend We Have in Jesus in a congregation which has German speakers and English speakers. Okay, two kind of speakers. I can add the German language here. While doing so, I add 3 minuses or lines, and here add the German version. I'll just copy and paste it. This is the German translation for this, and so on. Yeah, it works here. And then the first one. So we do it like that. Okay. And I save it. Okay, now it also works. Yeah, it's testing environment, as I said. And now I can open it again. And you see here, now the spoiler is used for the second language. Okay, the spoiler, which before was the next slide, is now shown for the used for the second language. Yeah, that's also possible. So you can have 2 languages and show them here. Yeah, and display them here. And the main language, which is used for singing, is the one which is displayed big, and the other one is the one which is displayed small. And in the next versions, Cantara will support more languages and a lot of other different display options. So we will see how this turns out at the end. What I want to show you finally is that Cantara's difference to PowerPoint is or other presentation software is in 2 ways. The first thing is that Cantara generates the presentation slides dynamically. You can see this here. If I change the size of the window, the content will be also changing. Yeah. For example, if the window is big enough, you see that the spoiler slide shows the whole next song. If I make the window a little bit smaller, the spoiler slide will display only the beginning, and at some point will completely disappear. So Cantara is not dependent on a certain screen size or on a certain screen format. You also don't need to set it up. It will just do it automatically, whatever your screen is. This is especially useful if you, for example, export the songs during, for example, the COVID time when all the people had Zoom sessions. You can use whatever format you like to show it. Yeah, for example, this format, and then just go ahead. Okay, that's no problem. And the other thing is, Cantara also comes with a multi-screen mode. In this setting, I just have 1 screen, so I always showed you that the window is opening here, and I have to toggle full screen by myself. But normally, if you have 2 screens, one for example for the beamer and one for your laptop screen or whatever, Cantara will detect it and automatically activate the multi-screen mode, and then the behavior is different after the presentation will be started. Because I don't have a second screen here, and you wouldn't see it on the video anyway, you just see one here, the normal window, and I could make full screen now. But if there would be a second screen, this window, this would be opened on the second screen in full screen by default. But what is different as well is that you have here in your main window, in the song selection window, presenter console, which you can also use to go on and navigate. Okay, so you have multi-screen support like you know this from PowerPoint or any other application. You could just go here, navigate, and also if you want to go back to the beginning, you press here, or if there are multiple songs, you can jump to them very easily without any problem. And if you are done, you just press X. Okay, this was my quick tour through Cantara. There's an online documentation which covers even more what Cantara is able to do. It's on the webpage. I am always looking for contributions and feedback. As Cantara is a volunteer project, it's a project where I invest time because of joy and because I hope that through the project people might be able to worship our great God and Lord Christ Jesus. So feel free to use it for free. Feel free to yeah, do whatever you like with this software. And but if you like to, you are very also welcome to support it. Not financially, I don't need any money at the moment, but with your feedback, with your contribution. Cantara is available on GitHub. The source code is available on GitHub. You could contribute a new language translation so that more people on the world can use it. And yeah, you can also just type in your feedback, whatever you like, new features, suggestions. I'm always happy to hear from that. And of course, please spread the word and make Cantara more popular if you like this. And I hope that, yeah, you will be happy to use it and that it will be used for the glory of God and the joy of man.